Hello and welcome everybody to Ufrl. This is Season 3 Tier 2 opener tonight. We are on Abu Dhabi. I will be your host for tonight. My name is Kieran, but commonly known by my gamer tag KMXNUEL. Feel free to send me an ad or anything like that. But tonight is the opener. We've got some new drivers in tonight, as we do with every single season, but we also have a returning Tier 2 champion and Tier 3 Season 1 champion, Swanton, who I believe tonight is racing in the Williams. Going through the rest of the grid, we have, if you give me a second, for Mercedes, we have Joker and J Thunder. For Red Bull, we have BKS Ghosts and Boy Knockout. For Ferrari, we have Viva F1 Fever and Arc Mickey. For McLaren, we have Summer and Bucky. For Alpine, we have Cal and I believe currently a free seat. For AlphaTauri, we have Brian and Gatekeeper. For Aston Martin, we have Almeida and UJGC. For Williams, we have Swanton, of course, the champion of Tier 2 and 3, and Ollie Brooks. For Alfa Romeo, we have Hybrid and UFRL Lewis. And for Haas, we have Copland and Maddie. So tonight, I'm completely new to this season, having only met, I believe, one racer on this list before. I'm going in with absolutely no prejudice or favourites whatsoever, so it's going to be purely down to the skill that I see on track today. I have no doubt with it being an opening for the season, everyone's going to be trying to push a little bit harder just to try and prove themselves at the start. I believe it's really important to remember that it is just the start and to kind of settle in. It's always better to get just a consistent result on your first one than to try and push ridiculously and just end up DNFing on your first race. Before I started commentating, I actually raced in Season 1 of UFRL, and my God, I think both first races I just tried pushing too hard, crashed, and it just really sets the tone for the rest of the season. You lose a lot of... Oh, 1 second. You lose a lot of kind of confidence in yourself for the rest of the season, and that can kind of just put you on a downward spiral when it gets to every other race. So I'm just going to add some other guys who are currently in the roster just to make sure that I can get into the lobby all fine. Right, hopefully this is me getting into the lobby now. So right about now, we should have the drivers kind of getting in. Normally throughout the day, you have everyone kind of getting on and doing their personal practice. I'd always recommend that any driver, from the moment that you finish one race, you just spend the entire week practicing for the next one. So you'll have your race normally on like I don't know, so obviously for Tier 2 you have it on a Tuesday, you then spend Wednesday, Thursday, Friday just doing practices, and then you'll go Saturday, maybe Sunday, you'll do some races against AI, maybe get some of your friends in, kind of race against them. Monday, you just want to keep it light, just go back to time trials, and then same on the Tuesday, potentially hop yourself into a race. The good thing about racing with AIs, obviously there are upsides and downsides to that. The upsides of racing against AIs is it kind of lets you get used to how other cars might move on the track. Also with given circumstances, say a car spins out, whatever, it's just going to show you roughly where other drivers might head. It's just little things to get your mind used to spatial awareness more than anything else. Obviously playing online, spatial awareness is your biggest friend. The last thing you want to be doing is knocking out people left, right, center, back, forth. Everyone dies and you're not happy, and no one's happy at you, and you just end up getting kicked off. So always good to do a little bit of practice with other cars on the track, get used to that spatial awareness, and that pays off huge when you get to stuff like this where it's a bit more competitive and you're worrying more about other people, not just AIs. Now, of course, the downside, I say downside, something that everyone has to keep in mind when you're playing online with something like this, is just unpredictability. You cannot predict, you can kind of roughly guess, and people like play or drive certain styles or whatever, but you cannot 110% predict how someone is going to drive. I remember driving on, was it Jakku? I can't remember. I was right next to someone, side by side, absolutely no issues whatsoever. I had the outside, so I had the perfect line to get into the next corner, and he just sweeps out, into me. Now, luckily, I had a bit of spatial awareness to try and to slow down a bit, which saved me from completely dying. But just little things that you really cannot predict before you get into a race or while you're in a race. So working on your reactions, so to speak, your reflexes is always going to be a huge help. So just like little things, just kind of getting used to, well, back to the same old point, getting used to just other cars on the track. So anyone that's watching, anyone that's racing, I'd just suggest like doing a couple of races every now and again. Just AI, shove them on hardest difficulty, lowest difficulty, whatever. I would always recommend shoving your AI to like 90, something like that. I mean, it depends on what tier you're in, because obviously the level is going to reflect roughly how hard your opponents are going to be, obviously, in real life. So if you're racing tier 1, yeah, sure, whatever, shove them on 90, shove them on 100, 110, whatever. Get used to it. If you're tier 4, roughly the tiers here are pace-based, but not too heavily. So if you're on tier 4, I don't know, shove it down to 70. But if you can, always try and shove your AI harder than you're used to. Because the only thing you're going to do by doing that is the only thing is you're going to get better. So, because you start following what the AI are doing, you start fighting harder to keep behind them, and then you start fighting to try and overtake them, and then you start fighting to keep them behind you. So, you start getting better by picking up what the AI do, and that's the only thing I'd recommend. It's like anything. If you want to get better at a sport, you learn by your coach. What does the coach do? The coach plays better than you do, probably most of the time. So, same thing here. Right, we're just about to hop into qualifying, which means we're about to start seeing where the people are going to shine. Have no doubt there's normally a couple of incidents when you get into the first qualifying session of the season. You've got that start of season nerves. No one's really quite sure where they're fitting into the pack, so everyone's just a little bit twitchy. Not to mention, I mean, Abu Dhabi isn't as technical as it once was, obviously with them removing multiple chicanes from the course. It's a lot more flowy and fast now. But still, it's not necessarily the most comfortable track. A couple of corners are just a little bit awkward, so I think we might see just a little bit of oversteering, understeering, usual stuff. But I can't imagine it's going to be too wild while we're getting into qualifying. The race, of course, I've only got to recommend that everyone is just aware of their surroundings, aware of what's going on. Don't push too hard, just stay relaxed, get into it. Normally people will try and push really hard off the start and just kind of, I don't know, try and center it out the gate. Do not try and do that. Just don't try and do that. What's the point, They're sure, statistically you can gain the most places in the first corner because everyone's still tightly packed, but you can also lose the race in the first corner. So I'd suggest just getting into a comfortable position, just sticking behind the man in front of you, unless he's spinning out. Do not stick behind him if he's spinning out, and just get on with it. Right, so we're now properly here. We're going to see who's heading out first. Of course, it's normally a mad rush to try and get your setup on. You'll have a couple of people who will wait. I prefer to normally get out on the track first, give me a bit of clear air just to try and get my hot lap in and get used to the track conditions before I've got too many cars on. So far, everyone's still sticking. Oh, I can't see what car that is, but I can see a car going out ahead. It's Brian. Right, so we'll stick with the AlphaTauri here as he goes out for his hot lap. We'll just see. Some people will just make tiny adjustments. Obviously, you can't completely change your setup once you're fully in, but you can make a couple of adjustments here and there just to kind of make sure you're a little bit more comfortable when it comes to it. Let's show some stuff on here. Tyre, of course, telemetry, lap data, and we'll have the full track map on. Right, so going down the DRS straight, seems like he's pretty comfortable with the setup at the moment. Absolutely no issues going on there. We'll have a little look down. We've got a couple of drivers coming out now. I think we've maybe got 7 on the track, something like that. We've got Bucky going out. Suez Swanton is obviously a champion. So far, he's just chilling in the pits. Get back to Brian here as he goes around the long, just finishes the long DRS straight, going around that sweeping left before he's going into the few right turns. Of course, this area used to be absolutely plagued by chicanes and it's basically a death sentence, but now it's nice and flowing, so it seems like it's a little bit easier just to kind of wrap your head around instead of doing an incredibly technical track straight off the bat. If you were to do Monaco, for example, as your first race of the season, I think we'll be seeing maybe 2 drivers cross the line. Of course, with this league being heavily based on the Wheel of Fate deciding your season, it's always a possibility. But I think they've kind of lucked out here with obviously the new Abu Dhabi layout. The first half being, you know, completely smooth and flowing. So Brian's now here on his hot lap. Just about to finish sector 1. Let's see what he sets. Obviously he sets purple. We've now got this left-hand hairpin here. Keeps it in all right. Doesn't shove it out too wide. It seems like cows come off my screen. I'm not sure if that's a DNF or if that's signal. I don't believe it's DNF as I'm not seeing any reds or yellows. Following on board as he's got this left into the tricky right. Got to be making sure that you're not shoving it too wide out onto the second part of that, because that's an easy way just to validate your lap right there. Going onto this long DRS straight. Keeps the line nice and tight, obviously being very careful not to touch that line too much. Got the sweeping left here, keeping it purple during sector 2, obviously, first car out on track. He's got a slight right here, just before it heads into the 90. Clean there. Maybe could have kept a bit more momentum through, but still nice and smooth. Kept it well within the lines here. Absolutely no worries about the boundaries. Coming through to the final turn here. Just needs a nice smooth exit to set a competitive time for everyone else. 1:25.9, not bad at all. We've got Bucky here, just heading through the 2 side rights. We've got a 1:25.5 from Vibe. Stick on with Bucky here as he goes through these final corners. So in the McLaren, not the McLaren, is that what is that, a Renault? It's definitely a McLaren. I haven't watched Formula 1 in way too long. Around the final right with a 25.8, it seems like we're going to be seeing a lot of 125s here at the top of the pack. Potentially someone could break a 124, considering Copland with a 125.0. All we're going to see is lap times improve as we get more rub on the track. People's tyres start to heat up a bit. Everyone's going with the soft. Smart idea, obviously, trying to get the fastest lap times in there. I think we'll start seeing maybe a 124.8, 124.7 potentially is the fastest. Potentially breaking a 124.6 if someone's having a really good day. Right, let's so far, a 146.4 from ARC. I'm just going to assume that was a slow out lap. I believe he's on his hot lap here, going down the first DRS straight. Thomas just got a 5-place grid penalty, collision with hybrid. That's gatekeeper. So far, he hasn't set a lap time, so we're going to hope that he sets something pretty good. Obviously, a 5-place grid penalty can be pretty lethal to the start of your race, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to start from the back. Gives you a little bit of clear air to kind of figure out what you want to do. Alright, still sticking on with Mickey here. Setting a purple sector 2 on the flowing left. Just got to keep it nice and clean through the 2 slight rights before the 90. Then you've got the 2 double lefts. Keeps a nice set of momentum going through there. Going around the double lefts here. Keeps it clean on the outside. Got the rear driver in front of him, giving him some good space there. Oh, and it's over. Oh, what could have been potentially a purple lap is over with just a little bit of oversteer right into that final corner. It's popped into the pit. Potentially it could be a little bit of a change there to the setup, maybe a little bit of wing adjustments. That is unfortunate for the Ferrari there. Alright, well, we'll head on with Maddie here, one of the honorary boys of the session. So currently with a 149. Definitely room for improvement there, but I believe she knows that, hence why she's heading on for another hot lap. I believe that's her teammate right behind her there, the second pass of Copland, who's currently sat in pole position. Getting nice and tight through that left, setting a purple sector 2. Absolutely beautiful work from the Haas here. Through that right, beautiful, got the 2 lefts here. But be careful just with those track limits, where it keeps it in, no worries. Got a slight right here, got to be careful with the oversteer, which unfortunately the Ferrari fell victim to. Final corner, kept it nice and clean here. Potentially we could be seeing a new pole. Didn't see a new pole, but we saw it up to 5th with a 125.7, which is definitely a way better improvement for the Haas. Were 1st and 5th, it's definitely not a bad grid place for the good old American team, which has not seen the most success in its short-running career in F1. See who else is out on track. I believe that's Mickey going out, but we'll hop on with him at a later date. I think that's Fever just jumped up there, not too sure. Oh, we'll sit here with BKS as he goes through that sweeping left. With only a couple corners left. This is his first hot lap of the session. We'll see if he can jump himself up there. I've raced with BKS before, I believe it's in Haas. Oh, something gone wrong? Not too sure. Swanson setting the 124.9. Previous Tier 2 champion. Come back with a bite. We'll see if this Red Bull here can impose anything on the rest of the grid. There for the track limits there. So nice and clean through the final corner. What's it going to set? Was it invalid or was it an outlap? I think that was an outlap. I think I'm just stupid. Got a yellow sector 1 and sector 2 there. I think we've just got a couple of drivers that know this pass. We'll stick with Ghost here throughout the entirety of the lap. My mic was a bit quiet. I'll just see if that's a bit better. It's not the normal mic I'd use, so unfortunately it's not as high quality as I would have liked. So we'll see what BK can set through this second sector here. If he sets purple, could be looking obviously a Red Bull up there in the mix. So far his teammate Knockout is in 9th place with a 126.0. A little bit of understeer there as he's hot on the gas, but he's managed to keep it in through the slide right. Now got to be careful that 90 right. Don't want to be shoving it out too wide there as he got straight into a 90 left, the first of the doubles. Really pushing these track limits here, trying to make the most of every bit of momentum we can grab. Coming through his final corner here, kept it nice and clean, or almost. He shoved himself up into third with a 125.0, and Do You Vibe set a 124.6 there. An incredible time. Potentially not going to see anyone touch that. I think Swanson is potentially the only one who's going to be close to that so far. Could be proved wrong for us. It looks like we've got a lot of strong drivers out here tonight. It's absolutely brilliant from the Red Bull, but you know, fourth isn't too bad. Obviously, we've got so far we've got the two Williams here holding out first and second. We're going followed by the Haas and Copland, followed by a Red Bull. The two Ferraris aren't too far apart. Well, it's not Ferrari, I don't think. That is a Ferrari. No, it's not a Ferrari. That's an Alfa Romeo. Where's the other Ferrari? Go. See what he sets here. Obviously, with disappointing 146. He sets that up to a 124.8, pushing that Williams down off the front row. Brilliant result there from Mickey, obviously, after that unfortunate oversteer incident on his last hot lap. Right. Got the Mercedes here of Thunder. 125.7 is a good time, but I definitely think there's room for improvement. I don't think he's pushing it at all. I'm not sure if there's any issues, obviously, other than an invalid lap. Potentially, we're going to see him. Oh, Jesus Christ. Pretty sure his light just flashed in front of his eyes there. Obviously, got to be careful of a rejoin to the track. I'm not sure if Mickey's sat out here for another hot lap of it in lap. Not on the DRS, so I'm going to assume, yeah, low fuel. Assume that's his lap here. And what about Viva, his teammate? Seems to be pushing the limits, so I'm assuming this is a hot lap here. Going through the two slight rights. Nice and clean through the 90, through the left. Nice and clean. Perfect line through the double left there. He's just got to worry about the two rights, obviously got to be aware of that. Under and oversteer you can receive here. No worries, pulling into the pits. I'm sure he wasn't happy with that. Nearly clipped his front wing going into them. That would have been unfortunate. Not sure how you'd explain that to the team manager. Hybrid here, the Alfa Romeo with a 125.5 so far. He's on a fresh set of softs, so potentially going to see him set a better time than he did before. Not quite sure why he's changed to a different set of softs. He's not pushing either, he's just staying on the inside of the track there, just allowing lead. There's an Aston Martin to pass, here we go with Roland. Heading through this chicane here, got to keep it nice and clean, obviously got to be careful with the understeer coming out that second part. No, absolutely no worries there. Straight onto the DRS. Here we've got the sweeping left. Hasn't set a faster sector 2, but he's looking like he's keeping it clean at the moment. All you really need is a flow when it comes to tracks like this. It's better to be consistent and flowy than to set one fast lap, and obviously in qualifying it's better to set just one fast lap and not have anyone touch you, but when it comes to the race, consistency is what you want to see. So if you're sat in 10th potentially, if you're sat in 10th for the qualifying, but you've set consistent lap times, that's what you've really got to worry about when it comes to the race, because if you can just keep knocking out 125, 125, 125, 125, that's better than somebody who's cranking 128 or 124, but then 129, 130, 131. So it's better just to keep a fast, smooth, average time than to be shoving it in and out of, you know, fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, because, you know, consistency is key. It's the same for, you know, every type of racing. So power is completely out. I'm still assuming that's a network issue because I didn't see any crashes, but potentially could be blind. Haven't done this for quite a while. Obviously, let me know if I did miss something. Soundboard here with knockout. Easy letting past. There's a Haas and Maddie. I believe she's just warming up tyres here. She is on her outlap. Who's potentially on a hot lap right now? I think Joker's on a hot lap. Mercedes driver here. Going through the second part of the chicane. Keeps it nice and clean. Straight into the DRS section here. Purple sector 2. This could be a time for us to keep our eyes on. Centre a bit wide through that sweeping left though. Might have lost a little bit of time there. We might be able to regain it just through this final sector as it becomes a little bit more technical. Nice and tight line there through the right. Shoves it out a little bit wide on the left, but manages just about to recover it coming through the second left. Hasn't broken track limits at all. Got to be careful with the oversteer here. A little bit, but he's chopping it into the pits. Saying a purple sector 2. Thought he might have kept that, but see, I can't see his delta, so he might have dropped down a little bit heading through that sector 3. Maddie here now on the hot lap. Oh, sending it a bit wide on the left. Don't think she's going to be quite happy with that. Going through to the right here now. Final right, she is going for it. She might potentially be going for another high lap, but we'll see how this time goes. She sticks with a 125.7, not improving on her time, but potentially setting herself up for a better hot lap here. It's nice and clean through sector 1. Sets purple. And through a sweeping left. Into DRS. Right, now heading through this really tight chicane here. Again, got to be careful to keep it nice and tight because as you come out of that second head there, you're really aware of that outside curb. One, because it's slippy. Two, because it's a really easy way just to invalidate your lap there. Going through the final DRS sector, we'll see if she sets purple again. She hasn't, but it could still potentially be a good lap time here. She's currently on 1 minute 3 seconds. And to the 2 slight rights, through the 90 right, and then got the twin lefts. Keeps it clean. We've just got the penultimate corner here. Sticks it in. Right, final corner. Keeps it clean on the exit. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Shoving her up into 4th, which has just put her 3 places above her teammate. Copland in 7th. He's currently sat in pits. Not sure if he's going to take a little bit of a change to the setup and hop out again. Oh, Knockout's just retired from the session. Not sure if that's an in-pit retirement or... I'm not seeing anything out on track, so I'm going to assume that's an in-pit retirement. Vibes obviously chilling in the pits. The top 3, I don't think are that worried. And that's under, yeah, Plummer's coming in now. Well, we'll stick on with Roland here for a bit. Just make sure I've got everything up that I need to. Right, with only 2 minutes 53 for everyone to finish their qualifying. Currently it's looking like the top 3 is going to remain unchanged with Vibe, Mickey, Bomb saying off the top 3 there. So that's brilliant work from the 2 Williams. Split by the Ferrari there of Mickey, who had an unfortunate first hot lap with that oversteer. Managed to recover it brilliantly, obviously now sat on the first row. Maddie the Haas. Sat in 4th. Not sure she's out for no, she is on an in lap. Followed by Hybrid in 5th. Gate, Copland and Bucky rounding out 8th. VKS and Viva, and that's your top 10. Then followed by Thunder, Roland, Wibble, Joker, Knockout, who decided to retire early, Cronin, Brian, Lewis and Cal rounding off the grid there. I believe that was a voluntary retirement. Still don't believe that was a crash, but again, not sure. But like I said, it's not always a bad thing to be starting from the back of the grid. It gives you a little bit of time just to play it calm. I mean. Plus, you've always got the first turn hell, second turn hell. It's just chaos. So sometimes it's nice just to sit out the way, let people, you know, spin off left, right, centre, lose a front wing, lose whatever. You know, just take a couple of places easy, and then you fight from there on. Don't think we're seeing any positional changes here. Maddie's now heading to the pits, which means she's set her place as 4th. Bucky's coming into the pits here as well. So who's that still out? Not quite sure who that is still out. But we've got Bucky coming into the pits, so it looks like that is your final grid setup for the race. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, Swanton in 3rd, having previously won a championship here, is not new at all. Obviously, other drivers here are not new to racing. I'm assuming for most of these guys, it's not their first league, first season, first competitive set of racing. But for anyone that is, just remember, stay calm, enjoy it, and just be aware of who's around you. The last thing you want is to have, you know, unfriendly rivalries this early in the season. Having a friendly rival, you know, no worries. Oh, it's Q. Oh, I didn't realise we did more than one qualifying. You know what? That's fine. All right. There we go. So that means that Cronin, Brian, Lewis and Cal are going to be out of Q2. Everyone obviously 15th up has a chance to completely change what goes on. Race director, don't believe anything too happens. Speeding the pit lane, corner cutting. Obviously the grid penalty there for gatekeeper. Where is he actually sat? Not sure. Sat in 6th. He looks like he could be a competitive racer, so that grid penalty could hit him hard. Oh, so Cal did get a terminal damage DNF, which is unfortunate for him. So he will be starting from the back, but keep your head up. Like I said, you know, keep calm, get on with it. Don't be thinking too hard. Like, I find that the best way to get into it is just to relax, and your body, your mind will just naturally kind of focus, get into the zone. If you're thinking and you're shaking, you're letting the adrenaline go, and you're just too tight, like tightly wound, you're just going to DNF. You're just going to force yourself into a mistake because you're going to let all the pressure get to you eventually. Just relax, see it as a video game. You know, although there will be consequences should you force someone to DNF, there will be consequences for you in the next race in the long term of the season. But at the end of the day, it's not your life on the line, so just, you know, relax, get into it. Remember, it's a game, competitive game, yep, but just work at it from there. Right, so we've got Bucket and McLaren heading straight out. Absolutely no hesitation there. Now, I do believe Bucky isn't the only McLaren in the league, but he is the only McLaren that is racing so far today. Obviously, there is a chance that the other one jumps in late, but we will be starting from the back of the grid. Of course, if you've got any questions, any suggestions, any favourites, anything you want to hear, anything you want to see, shove it in chat. You know, we've got qualifying to, you know, clear the air, talk about anything you want to talk about, obviously before we get into the intensity of racing. You see these guys are focusing quite heavily right now. And Bucky's just finishing sector 2 of his outlap. So for those of you that are new to Ufrl, we run, I believe, 4 tiers. Tier 1 being on Monday, so on and so forth. And then we run a realistic tier on a Saturday, which I will also be commentating. You will normally be seeing me commentating on your Tuesday and Saturday evenings. So I'll be always commentating for tier 2. So I'll get to know these drivers a bit better as I talk to them through on and throughout. Talking of which, let me see if I can get any of these guys in. Not any of the guys racing. Tier 4 Aston drive here. Am I available for labour delivery room comms? Potentially, it depends on the day. At the end of the day, I work and I've got other commitments outside of Formula 1. But by all means, send me a message. My gamer tag is TKS, all capitals, KMX and UEL. There is a space between TKS and the KMX, etc. Feel free to send me a message on Xbox, or I said he got a lag spike. That is unfortunate. Obviously, with this still being semi-new, I mean, it's dependent on your personal connection, but with this being a semi-new game, you'll find you get a bit of lag every now and again. But also my Discord is KMX and UEL 5734, my code. So just send me a message on there should you want any more information, or should you want to talk a bit more about what goes on here. But obviously the Saturday realistic settings, I believe it's realistic distance as well. A bit more intense, a bit more for the higher skilled drivers who really want to push themselves to the edge. So you'll see me commentating that. I believe I might be joined in the booth, I'm not too sure. Right. Vibe setting on 124.5, setting a lovely time straight out of the gate, and Bucky setting on 125.5, a second in between him. Nothing to worry about there for Bucky. Could potentially go straight into a hot lap, obviously now having the heat into his tyres and feeling comfortable with the track. And normally what you see is an improvement on times as you go through, because people are getting into their flow, kind of figuring out the bits of the tracks, how to get it a bit more comfortable, how to get the flow through, and obviously making the tiny adjustments to setups that they might not have had before. So, got Ghost here now on his outlap. Although he has invalidated, that is unfortunate for the Red Bull driver there. Now Mickey here, I believe he was sat in second on Q1. Just about to finish his lap. Got the 2 slight rights heading into the 90 right before you go through the twin lefts. Keeps it nice and clean on the exit there. Got to be careful of track limits around this track because they're pretty much a hair trigger. In the final corner, keeps it clean, no back end loss there. Good traction. Sets himself up into 5th with a 125.6, which is a very respectable time here. Of course, just got to try and drop it down into the 124s to be kind of front competitive here when it comes to qualifying. So just to reiterate for the drivers we've got here today, got it up. Alright, here we go. We've got, for Mercedes, we've got Joker and Jay Thunder. For Red Bull, we've got Ghost and Paul Knockout. For Ferrari, we've got Viva and Mickey. For McLaren, we have Summer and Bucky. Obviously, Bucky is the McLaren we have at the moment. Summer has not been able to join us today so far. For Alpine, we've got Cal. Currently seeing a free seat here. Unfortunately, Cal, as mentioned, had a lag spike coming out of the pits, causing a DNF, which is a shame, but it doesn't mean the race is over. For AlphaTauri, we have Brian and Gatekeeper. For Aston, we have Almeida and UJGC. For Williams, we have Swanson, who is a previous championship leader, and Ollie Brooks. For Alfa Romeo, we've got Hybrid and UFRL Lewis. And for Haas, we've got Copland and Maddie, who I'm led to believe are siblings. If that is true, that is incredible. I don't think I've ever met a sibling team before, so that will be absolutely brilliant to see what their brother and sister can set on a league. Currently got Copland on an outlap and Maddie sat in the... okay, both on outlaps here. One right behind the Red Bull of... Is that out there? Oh, not sure why I've lost sound here. There we go. Knockout's just being let past by Copland, I believe that is. Right, it's always essential to remember on your outlap, don't try and push it. If you push it on your outlap, you are guaranteed going to hit a wall, and that's expensive. So always make sure that on your outlap, just going left, right, getting heat into the tyres, being careful, braking early, being careful easing onto the gas. You do not want to mess it up. It's always embarrassing to mess it up on a hot lap. I mean, your pride is going to take a knock from that. Just seeing that Wibble Wobble has been disqualified. I'm going to assume that is something potentially pit lane wise. I'm not too sure. Just received a message from the big boss man himself. All game volume, right, absolutely no worries. Give me a second to sort that out. Right, hopefully the game volume will be a bit better. However, because F122 is a pain in the arse, I'm going to have to try and rejoin the lobby. Obviously, no worries. We are in qualifying. Hopefully, I'm not missing anything too important. Hopefully managed to get the game audio sorted. Obviously, first stream for me of the season, so it's just going to take a little bit of tinkering here and there just to make sure we've got the settings set up nice and perfect. This isn't my my usual setup either, so trying to adjust to someone else's. Right, let me get back in the lobby here. Oh, just seen that Swanson invalidated last corner. That is unfortunate for the Williams driver. Obviously, like I've said many a time, previous championship leader. There we go. Right, back into the session here. Hopefully the loading times aren't too long. I can get back in and see what's going on straight away. So for those of you that haven't been introduced to me before, my name is Kieran. I commonly commentate, especially for the Poems, who have been amazingly kind in all aspects and have set up this wonderful league for everyone here. Oh, just seen that Knockout has been knocked out of the session. But I work commonly with the Poems a lot. I've commentated for other leagues such as IUF1, if you're aware of them. Obviously not as good as UFRL, you know. And I will be commentating the Tuesday and the Saturday races, so it'll be nice to get to know all the drivers that I'll be interacting with. After the race today, I will be speaking with a couple of drivers, my personal elections for driver of the day, and of course I'll try and get the winner on there, who will of course be elected for driver of the day, considering they won. So it'll be nice to hopefully build up that personal relationship with you viewers and the drivers as I kind of interview them, get to know a bit about them. You guys get to see them race and then talk with them afterwards, and hopefully that way we'll have a nice community here, which is something that I know is very important to everyone in this league. So Vibe still sat up there with a 124.5. He can just chill, do whatever. He's got no worries. 124.7 is Copland, obviously the brother of the sibling team there at Haas. Got Gatekeeper sat with a 124.7. Viva with a 124.8, but I'm not sure if he's on a hot lap here. We'll see how he does in Sector 2. Doesn't set purple, but he looks like he's on good pace. He's kept it nice and clean. Just got to make sure I've got all this stuff back on. There we go. No, it looks like he's abandoning that lap. Potentially going in for the pits. Yeah, going in for the pits there. Low fuel, just noticed. Now we've got Maddie here, obviously the sister of the sibling team. Is she going in for the pits as well? That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Unfortunately, the pits were a bit closer than she expected, but you know, with a 125.0, that's absolutely nothing to be worried about. Roland, of course, having just retired from the session as well. That's an on-track retirement. Who's coming close to him? Is it Bucky? There we go. Yeah, just seeing that there. I'm assuming that was a little bit of oversteer coming out the last left there. It can be a little bit slippy. Sat with Bucky here. Will he improve on his time? He doesn't. Still sat at 125.5. Just got to be careful of these curbs here. 1, track limits, always a pain on Formula 1, and 2, just slippiness. Obviously, with these cars being the new design cars, if you get any air under them, you're looking at a Boeing 747 and not a McLaren. So have to be really careful about shoving it over these curbs here. Obviously, don't touch the sausage curb unless you are willing to die. But I don't think Abu Dhabi has any. Mickey is now up there with a 124.7. Brilliant result from the Ferrari driver there, whose teammate Viva is sat down in 5th. So that's a good result from the Ferraris so far. Viva's just said the pit wall here isn't nice. I can tell, seems pretty vicious. Pretty sure it's taken out two drivers at the moment. It's absolutely brilliant to see all the support that we've got here for the drivers. I remember when I used to race, the one thing I do is I'd always go back and watch the stream and I'd read the comments. So I know it's going to be really heartwarming for everyone when they come and watch the stream back tomorrow and they see all their teammates in different tiers. Now Hybrid, they're setting a 124.3. That is ridiculous. Pretty sure he has just sold his soul to Satan to set that lap time. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. The game is the game. Got to see it through. It's an absolutely incredible time there from the Alfa Romeo. Shame we won't be seeing times like that from them in real life, but it's absolutely brilliant there. Bucky, I believe, is out on a hot lap, not too sure. See if he jumps straight on the DRS or not. I believe he's going straight for it. Nope, he's dropped off. Don't think he's too worried now. I mean, a 124.7, very respectable, starting in 5th. ARC Mickey and Viva down to 6th and 8th respectively. That has been a lot there for the Ferrari drivers. Again, not too much of a worry as long as they stay in for Q3. Oh, what else did I do in our race? I had a little bit of an issue on Monza once involving Mrs. Poem, one of the great founders of this league, in which, coming straight off the start, I absolutely floored it, lost all my traction, hit her into a wall, and we both DNF'd. We didn't even make it maybe 20 meters. But safe to say those days are behind me. You know, the coach doesn't play the game. That's why I commentate now. Well and truly found my home in the booth. Right, sticking on with Thunder here, going through the chicane. Got to be careful of the exit there on the second head of that. Keeps it nice and clean. Coming through the DRS sector 2. nice and clean. Obviously got to be careful of those limits there, but nice and easy. Sticks around the outside for this easy left. Sets purple sector 2. Keeps it nice and clean through this left. Not shoving it out too wide. Ooh, little bit close there. Little bit close. Manages to stick within the track limits, keeping that momentum going straight away. Beautiful right-hander. Going through the twin lefts. Got to be careful of that Williams. No worries. It's out of the way like my ex-wife. Coming through these final lefts. Got the penultimate corner here on the right. Got to be careful of that oversteer. No worries. Final corner here. Potentially could be seeing a fastest lap. 1:24.8. That is a good lap time. Unfortunately, that is still... Oh my god. And Joker has also just sold his soul to Satan. A 1:24.297. That is absolutely ridiculous. Sat in the Mercedes there. A brilliant result. Currently got a front row lockout between Mercedes and Alfa Romeo. Following that, we've got a Williams, Red Bull, Williams, Haas, McLaren, Ferrari, Alfa Tauri, Mercedes, and then Ferrari. With 4 DNFs so far this session, with Maddie, Knockout, Roland, and Wibble. Right, with only 1 minute 20 left on this session. I think it's the last AI's kind of crossed the finish line. Gives the drivers a little bit of a respite before we head on to Q3. 4th for Ghost there. Having raced with Ghost before, can well and truly testify he's an absolutely brilliant driver. There we go. Those are your 10 going into Q3. It's been unfortunate for Viva, Maddie, Knockout and Roland. And I believe it's Wibble. It's unfortunate for the 5 there. But for Joker, Hybrid, Swanton, Ghost, Vibe, Copland, Bucky, Mickey, Gate, Keeper, and Thunder Buddy, it's on to the next round. Now, of course, what you kind of want to do is just sit comfortably in Q1, Q2, and then kind of bring out everything you can in Q3. But, you know, we'll see what everyone manages to do. We'll take the most of this short gap, and then we'll get on with qualifying 3.
Today's ever-increasing young breed of drivers is no surprise. Top 10 Porsche drivers to enter a race all achieved their straight records during the 90s. Today's drivers are more likely to have empathy with the frequency. Keep your eyes peeled for the famous faces around the planet this weekend. The nearby Canada festival is traditionally held just before the Grand Prix, and many of Hollywood's best drivers are heading over to join the race. With today's ever-increasing young breed of drivers, it's no surprise top 10 Porsche drivers to enter a race all achieved their straight records during the 90s. Today's drivers are more likely